Hello there, I'm a badger. And my friends Eddie Palmer and Ellie Stirling from Scottish Badgers are here to answer questions about badgers sent in by you, the public. But first, let's have a look at some footage taken by a camera trap that they've put outside my house. Yes, so brilliant shot here. What you can see are my cubs and my wife playing together. The cubs are about 4 months old in this video. Oh, aren't they adorable? Yes. Anyway, now over to Eddie and Ellie to answer your questions.
Hello, this is Eddie Palmer, Chairman of Scottish Badgers. So here this afternoon to answer some of the wonderful questions that people have posed to us. So thanks very much for having us talk to you.
I see we have Poppy, Henry and Jane have asked about how can people help to protect badgers and what can we do, what can we all do. There's a couple of things I'd really like to mention now. One is from October this year, if you care to keep an eye on Scottish Badgers website, we'll be posting there the launch of our new Badger Champions project. So that means that anyone can sign up there to become a Badger Champion. If you do that, we'll send you an easy to download package of information about badgers, and you can post that on your social media, give talks, take posters to people, educate and help people understand badgers. And the other thing I'd like to mention is that there's some wonderful infographics that we've got about different aspects of badgers' lives and busting some myths about the badgers. And you can find us on Facebook, look for Scottish Badgers, and find us on Twitter, again as Scottish Badgers. Look forward to seeing you on Facebook and Twitter and as a Badger Champion.
What a smashing answer, Ellie. Thank you very much for that, and I'm sure we'll all be very sure to follow you on Facebook and Twitter. Now, a lot of people asked what I eat, so over to you, Eddie, to answer that for us.
Badgers are called omnivorous. That means that they eat virtually everything. So they do eat meat, they're carnivores, but they also eat a very wide range of other things. So their diet, you may not be surprised to learn, is earthworms. About 50% of their diet's made up. And recently it's been discovered that badgers can smell earthworms maybe half a mile or a mile away and make their way there. But badgers, as you can see from their shape and size, are not hunters. They're foragers. They move slowly through the countryside, eating what's in front of them. And so their diet's made up of earthworms, as I've said, bugs, beetles, all sorts of things in the soil. And they're snufflers. They dig up ground looking for food. Also got two other things that they eat at times. And in the middle of the summer, that cereal from fields growing it, such as July and August, and in the autumn fruit when they're feeding up for winter. They will take carrion. That means little animals which are dead in front of them. So that could be birds, it'll be mice, it'll be anything like that. Badgers do not go hunting larger animals. And it's very important to remember that.
Yes. Thank you very much for that answer, Eddie. Yes, so, unlike 80s and 90s kids' TV shows would have you believe, badgers don't love mashed potato. We love worms, and fruit, and bits of everything. Anyway, over to Ellie for the next question.
Now I see a number of people have asked about sets and how badgers use them. I'd like to make two really important points about sets, which first of all is the question, not only are sets of use to badgers, which of course they are, because they've built them to live in, but what use are sets to the rest of nature, including humans? Now, that's something that's really important the more we move into a future where we're going to have to think about the impacts of climate change and the ecosystem crisis that we have. So let's look at what badgers do for the environment around them. Now, they're a burrowing species, and like all burrowing species, badgers move soil about. So they aerate the soil, they create soil in spoil heaps, and that gives the soil capacity to retain moisture that it doesn't otherwise have. That's been shown in studies to be a protection against wildfires, which we're going to be facing more of, unexpected, uncontrollable fires. As they spread the soil about, and also as they dig for their latrines and pass seeds through their body and their scats, badgers are providing niche habitats for all sorts of other diversity of plants and fungi, and for other creatures to inhabit. So one of the issues in the climate and ecological crisis that we face is the loss of diversity in species, and that's largely, as evidence has shown, related to a loss of the niche habitats that they need to be able to survive, and if their animals raise young. So badgers are creating havens where seeds can grow into plants, into trees, provide fruit trees, so food for other species. They are creating havens for other species to raise their young in safety and to have shelter from the elements, because they'll share their sets with other species. So they're contributing to soil health, which is a big, big benefit for the human species, because that's what we need to grow food, and it's also a very costly issue for farming at the present. So badgers do a lot of miracles for the rest of us, not just for themselves. Coming to the sets that they construct, there are a couple of mistakes that people often make who don't know about how badgers use their sets. They're a territorial species, so they build a number of sets within their territory. Those species will go back for millennia, and they're linked by ancestral paths the badgers will have used and their ancestors before them. And those sets may or may not be occupied all the time, but the point is they are used by the family throughout the year at different points, possibly all the time, possibly not, but they are essential for the welfare and the health of the badger family. A bit like humans in days gone by would take the whole family up to the summer shieling to do the farming there and go back to the village in the winter to survive. Badgers will use their sets for warmth and for safety, according to the seasons and according to the food availability and the breeding part of the year that they're involved in. So the other mistake that humans often make looking at sets is to think that there's a similar number of animals as there are numbers of entrances to a set they're looking at. And that's basically not the case. There is no correlation. It's actually to do with if you've got very sandy soil, you may have lots of collapses and need to dig more chambers out as the years go by, or if the set is an older established set, it'll have been excavated over the generations to create new chambers. So there may be more entrances to it, but on average, a badger family in Scotland is 5 to 6 animals, and that will be the same. It's the territory that determines the family's needs, not the set itself. So there'll be 5 or 6 animals living in a territory and using all of the sets in one way or another to support their life throughout the cycle of the year. So I hope that puts a couple of common misconceptions out of the way, and I hope that was of interest.
What a smashing question. Cheers very much for that, Ellie. So I'd like to say a huge thanks to Scottish Badgers and of course my friends Ellie and Eddie. Remember and follow Scottish Badgers on both Facebook and Twitter. Bye just now.